Today it's time for the finals of the Sparkling Tuna Cup, played on the brand new patch. Please commentate well, we're young, because Zerg is OP. Wait a second, I was doing my intro! Chronos, spawning right here in the upper right. Playing in blue, we have none other than Hero. Representing himself with his tournament decal on the main Nexus. You'll love to see it. His opponent down in the bottom left, playing with the red Zerg pieces. He goes by the name of Shin. Now, this particular match was played, I think, 2 days or so after the new patch went live. We did see Hero play in the, what was this? The GSL-CK tournament, when it was PTR patch number 2, when Zerg was utterly busted. And let's just say that he was not having a good time at all. He played one Skytos game that looked somewhat promising against Lambo, but across the board, in the games that I've seen Hero play on the new patch so far, I don't think he was really enjoying himself all too much. And that's a little bit of a shame, especially considering he has basically won everything in 2026 so far. Now, since that GSL-CK tournament, the patch has had a couple of adjustments. Zerg does seem to maybe still be a little bit busted, but not quite as busted as it was during the PTR2. So let's see how Hero can currently do as he decides to open Nexus first. Okay. Nexus first on a very large map. I guess the fact that Blackrock is pretty large does make it maybe slightly less risky. But it's always risky to go for a Nexus first on the low ground. Gateway on the back of it as well. Okay. Now, this is a matchup, right? Where, look, there's a few things going on. First off, Protoss effectively has to relearn how to play the early game. Because of the warp gate changes, it just is going to be taking a while before Protoss is going to be able to figure out how they are supposed to be opening up. In the meantime, for Zerg, because of the larva regen being upped a little bit, and some of the costs may be slightly adjusted, but not really as significantly, the early game for Zerg just feels smoother. So Zergs can effectively play what they have been playing in the past already, but slightly easier, whereas for Protoss, they have to, like, reinvent themselves altogether. What it ultimately comes down to is that you, can't really expect Protoss to immediately feel comfortable right at the very start. I think across the board, if Protoss was already dominating Zerg at this stage in the patch, I think we'd be in for a pretty nasty couple of months where Protoss would likely be dominating in, well, a few months' time. Right now, Protoss is struggling a bit, but I wonder if it is going to be something we'll see for the foreseeable future, too, you know? Like, if Protoss was already feeling really comfy with such a significant overhaul, I think it'd be, quite worrying down the line as well. But at the very least, the initial impressions, now that the week is old, the patch is like a week old or so at this point in time. Maybe a little bit older than that. The, Zerg early game just seems smoother, and the Protoss early game seems to be a little bit more difficult. Stargate opener here for Hero. He's going to be planting it down over here on the low ground. We have a second pylon, but for some reason it is hanging out together with the Tauren Chieftains in the corner of the map. Don't really like that pylon positioning all too much. I'm not sure exactly what we're planning on doing with it. I almost wonder if we're going to be getting like a really quick fleet beacon going or something. Like, why is this pylon tucked all the way up north? Like, why is it over here? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. I guess we maybe want to go for some sort of tech structure and try to hide it from what the Zerg player is trying to do. Are we going to go into a Void Ray? Will we go straight Oracle? What's the plan? Okay, Oracle for now. There is an Adept. We are getting the Warp Gate research. Hero even forced to learn how to wall off, man. What a crazy day. Crazy time to be a Protoss player. So real quick, in case you're not 100% familiar with the patch notes and what exactly has changed for Protoss, as we see Shin trying to grab some freebies. Not going to be happening, as he does double down on even more Zergling production here. But long story short, gateways, when they want to now transform into a warp gate, need to spend an additional 25 minerals and 25 gas for each gateway. It's very significant. Furthermore, if you research warp gates, so this research right over here, but you don't transform the gateway, you just sort of leave it in its regular gateway form, you get a 40% production speed boost on regular gateway units. So, the main question that Protoss players are currently running into is, when do you transform the gateways to warp gates? Do you do it at all? Do you just leave them in regular warp gate form? What exactly should you be doing here early on? It seems that the general idea at the moment is to leave them in gateway form while you're playing defensively, but then when you switch to offense, that's when you may want to consider some of the time to transform it into a warp gate instead. And in some games, we end up with like half warp gates. Oh, dude, we have a quick fleet beacon here. Okay. In some games, you end up with like a really, a botched set of units where you have like half gateways and half warp gates, and nobody really knows what's going on anymore. Shindo wants to figure out what's going on, and he is going to see, I think, the fleet beacon. Now he needs to click it. Did he click it? Wait a second. I did not see a selection circle there for the Zerg. I don't know if he clicked it. If he did click it, we should see a spire fired up as quickly as possible. Instead, we're not going lair. We're instead going into a fourth hatch. Wait a second. This is a mothership rush from Hero to try and be safe in the early game. Not an approach I've seen yet on the new patch. Is this the way you're supposed to play Protoss? Mothership, really quick charge. A single warp gate. You know what makes me a little bit worried, though? I guess we have a Stargate, right? But we've seen Zerg players get pretty aggressive as well with roaches in this matchup. Especially with a Nexus first, right? What if Zerg would have rushed out a bunch of roaches early on? I think it would have just been game over already. Not sure exactly if you can get away with roaches every game, though. Maybe it's a little bit too much. The Zerglings have been hard at work for a while already, trying to kill the Stargate. Shield Battery is going to be using some of its energy right now to regen some of the shields on that structure. Not the end of the world. But there we go. Mama's gonna be out. Not even 7 minutes into the game. I mean, it takes a while. It's almost 7 minutes now, but there she is. Now, what do you do? What do you actually do? Do you send it across? Or do you just sort of keep it over here off to the side? She's waiting for her grand entrance onto the stage. Yeah, she's just waiting off to the side in case she needs to cloak a bunch of things. Okay. Very strange build. Fourth hatchery in the meantime is done. Lair is also done. We're going straight into the Hydralisk production now. Fair enough. Charge coming up as well for Hero, though, and that one, I mean, I feel like he started researching this one a while ago, but it will finally be done. Now we're adding on a load of gateways. Okay. Overseer Scout is gonna go in. What's kind of funny, though, is that Shin will likely, as he has the Diva announcer, of course, Shin will likely see that there is indeed a fleet beacon, but he hasn't yet seen the Mothership. And he's gonna be very confused because this is a structure he had vision of earlier. He probably did not see it at the time, like he didn't click it at the time, and he's probably wondering, like, where are the carriers, where are the Tempest, what am I playing against? And instead, what he is going to be losing this Overseer to is a Mama ship. I actually don't think Shin should have seen this. I think Hero should have left it hidden for a while. He assumed that the opponent assumed that everything would make sense now, but it did not. I think Hero was still unscouted for the time being, because yeah, now finally the Spire gets planted. What a weird game. Couple of depths still going around, by the way. Uh-oh. Straight Storm as well now. Contamination is going to be denying it for a while, but the upgrade is nearly done. He kind of does need to finish it, though, because this is still a lot of Hydra Roach. It's a tight map, though, Blackrock, and there's the cloaking field getting activated. There are Overseers nearby. They'll have to be ferried to move forward a little bit, because otherwise you're in some trouble. Mama! Mama can't do the job. Psystorm is not done. I think that'll be the end of this hatchery. In the meantime, though, we have a Zerg Nexus over here in a little bit of trouble, just like the Protoss hatchery from earlier. Storm now finally does finish. Zealot Run-By, though, trying its absolute best. Keep in mind that this is now 9 warp gates. So that is 9 times 25 minerals and 25 gas, just to allow these Zealots to move around. It makes it a lot more costly. Obviously, you don't have to pay that price multiple times, but it is certainly something to keep in the back of your mind, because this type of harassment, especially at this stage in the game, is more costly for Protoss than it's ever been. Okay, now Storm is done. We have Lurkers on the horizon together with a Hive. We have so many High Templar, though. This is a weird game. You no longer need a gateway attached to your pylon here to get the speedy warp-in advantage. Oh, no. Mama! Mama, you're too slow! Storm! 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 Zealots coming in. Not enough Hydras. Mama lives! What? Okay, this is now officially the dumbest macro game of Protoss versus Zerg that I've seen on a new patch. You know the worst part about it? I think Hero is winning. I think Hero's gonna win this game. This is one of those situations you can't really replicate, though. I really don't think this is supposed to be, quote-unquote, supposed to be a Protoss win, but it's working because Shin didn't click the structure earlier, and he did not quite figure out what's going on early enough, and then Mama survives with just 6 HP. Oh my god. There's no way we can do this multiple times in a row, can we? GG. Okay. I think that's the first time I've seen Hero win on the new patch. Now, obviously, this is the finals of the Sparkling Tuna Cup, so clearly he's had some wins getting to this particular stage. I don't think he'd just be seated straight into the grand finals. That would be a bit of an unfair tournament. So clearly he's been winning some here and there. But that was one of the weirdest games of Protoss versus Zerg that I've seen so far. I really don't think, though, that that is the answer to playing against Zerg. Shin could have done about a dozen things differently, and the outcome would have been, well, the polar opposite of what we've got right now. But you know what? I guess if Hero's ever gonna win, it makes sense for him to do so in such a manner. And you know what? I think it's going to be another Nexus first. We're doing back-to-back Nexus first? No, we're not. We're not. Never mind. The problem with back-to-back Nexus first is that you really are inviting the Zerg to just plant down any sort of early pool. 8 pool, 10 pool, 12 pool, all of it is fine. All of it would kill a Nexus first. The timings would all be a little different, but it's not rocket science. Just a hedge first, though, here for Shin. He'll be happy with this choice. I'm not sure, though, how like if you go for a 10 pool, how does it line up against like a, I don't know, like a gateway cybercore into Nexus? Like, how would that line up? Probably not good for Zerg. But it's one of the many questions, right, with the new patch. Like, how do you actually play the game? It's that magical word variety that we've heard so much about over the last couple of weeks. Cybercore after Nexus. Probe Scout, of course, did confirm that this is not a pool first, so that's safe enough. Double gas in the main base now. It all feels very disjointed for Protoss here. It really, like, I don't know. If you look at the build orders, it just doesn't feel smooth. Yeah, we now put 3 workers in gas. Then we rallied 1 back over here to minerals. Now we're pulling from the minerals into gas. So we re-rally from that second assimilator back to the mineral fields. Right? Like, all of this is Protoss players using their brain power to come up with the best way to play. It's a lot of brain power that needs to be used. We're just kind of building stuff now. It doesn't feel particularly refined yet. For Shin, it should be a little bit more straightforward, although things like, for example, his Overlord timings are going to be a bit different. I'm mentioning it now because I think he's going to hit a supply block. Yeah. Not a very significant one, but still. Stargate inside of the main base right now for Hero. Third hatchery, though, gets planted down. And maybe this is fine, actually, for Shin. He was saving up money to get that third base going. So far, though, I think the best build that I've seen Protoss players play so far, right? So, Protoss players, they put their brightest minds together There was probably some big internal, like, Discord voice chat or something where the brightest minds of Protoss came together and decided that the best way forward is Mass Void Ray. I think Mass Void Ray is probably the way to do it right now. At least that seems to be the strat. Like, Mass Skytles in general seems to be the best strat that you can go right now on the new patch. Gold League players knew all along. Nah, there's no vision on that side, man. It's on a pillar. Yeah, that meeting took a long time. You can tell here. Hero just tried getting high ground vision by shading the adepts down to the low ground. Do it again. If you wanted to check for a Zergling blocking his path, I guess he... That looked so dumb. Alright, fair enough. We get there eventually. Yeah, this is why the meeting took a long time. It's a very slow Discord call. I think he was just checking if there was a Zergling blocking his path, but it's a bit weird to send the shade down over here twice. Anyways. Oracle is going to be able to move in. And we have a proxy pylon. Oh, we're just actually using the Oracle defensively? Third Oracle coming up as well. What about the second Oracle? Where are you going to chill? You're going to chill together with your brother? Okay. Okay, we're tag teaming the... Okay, fair. This is the one with more energy now. Yeah, and there's no way that, like, in a month, this is what the Protoss strategies will look like. This is very much so Protoss players trying to vibe game, you know? Ah, now we're sending the Oracle back. Yeah, like, we're just playing based on vibes alone. There's the fleet beacon, man. We're doing it again. It's a different way. It's a different way to getting to Skytles than in the previous match. But ultimately, like I mentioned, the brightest minds of Protoss have decided that Blink Stalkers? No. Immortals? Colossi? No. Skytles? Yes. In the meantime, Shin has taken no damage here in the early game. And apparently he's decided that 47 drones is all he really wants. We're doing Overlord speed together with a lair. So I think what we're going to do is send the units inside of a private jet straight across the map. Oh, it's these two right over here. Fair enough. Queens are getting ready. Look at Brenda, man. She's eager. Brenda, Margaret, Lily. Ooh, thought we were going to get a little donation there of a bunch of adepts. Roaches will test the waters here over at the watchtower for a moment. Here's the oracles, though. Do you zap the roaches? Yeah, I think you do. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Queens, in the meantime, unload to the edge of the creep. This is ugly, man. I really don't like this attack for Zerg very much. One roach accidentally got popped in. We're going to morph in some Ravagers. Another drop alert to, I guess, send links into the main base. In the meantime, the carriers got cancelled in favor of more oracles? Wait a second. Is oracles really the answer? I mean, if you have 5 oracles, you can easily kill 4 queens. Here we go. Dude, he just activated it. Oh, he wanted to go after the Ravagers. Fair enough. Zerglings do get a full wrap around there on the adepts. Here's Moracle showing up. Is there enough for Zerg to actually deal damage? Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. I don't think so. No. No, this is not working for Shin at all. We end up with Mass Oracle, which is a bit of a funky unit composition, but it may just be right. And now, after the dust has settled, I think we fire up a Mothership or like 2 carriers. Never really seen like 8 oracles together with a Mothership, but yeah, there we go. 400 minerals, 400 gas, makes sense. 1 or 2 oracles activate pulsar beams yet again. The oracles aren't going to be without energy, though, for a while. So now we just awkwardly sit here. Here's the Zergling run by the way, into the main base. The one that came in their own little private jet. You know what? The rest of them are going to join in, too. Keep in mind that every time you activate the pulsar beam on an oracle, it takes energy for that oracle to activate the ability. So you can't just turn it on and turn it off again and then turn it on back again. It just costs you too much energy. So you kind of just keep it on. Now the Void Ray production kicks in. The more time goes by, the more we have learned that Gold League Protoss players were right all along. Skytoss every game. Void Rays every game. Don't worry with any sort of unit on the ground. Doesn't seem to be worthwhile at all. Maybe Hero is playing Vorazun in co-op. He's going to be mixing in Dark Templar in a moment. Oracle's, by the way, the only Protoss air unit that does not benefit from the +1 flyer upgrade. The +1 air weapons. Mama does benefit from it. But now the question is, when do you send it? Do you go right now? Hero a little hesitant, and I can't blame him. He's, by the way, remaking a fleet beacon because he lost his original fleet beacon. It's 300 minerals, 200 gas. Extremely expensive structure. Hydra's going around. Oh my god, this is going to be a battle of the glass cannons, though. Hydras and Oracles alike deal an insane amount of damage, but have no HP. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. He sends it. And I love the cloaking there and the time warp. There's no detection available for these Zerg units at all. So say goodbye to the army. Overseer was thinking about saving it, but knew it would just die as well. So he decided to back up. GG. Next up, we find ourselves on the Old Sun Temple. So Kronos is apparently translating here. Hero is saying, I used all of the builds prepared. And Shin says, so tough game. I guess there was a little bit of chatter in the pre-game lobby. Okay, so Hero has played his hand. I guess now we know that Shin is going to be able to play his hand as well, right? He can do whatever he likes. Now, this is a 4-player map. This is the 4-player map without the tunnels around the outside. AKA the worst 4-player map. No, that's not actually entirely true. I think it's fine. Not my personal favorite, though, from the most recent Team Liquid map contest. No tunnels? No Loco seal of approval, clearly. I think the map layout, though, is okay. Very quick probe scout. And Hero is going to try his absolute best to block the opponent's expansion. Now, since this is indeed a 4-player map, it's actually quite difficult, to block your opponent's base like it. You can't reliably do it every single time. Shin is going to have 300 minerals. Keep in mind, hatcheries are now 300 minerals rather than 275. I think, though, just by seeing the angle of the probe, Shin probably also can figure out that indeed Protoss has spawned in the bottom right. Already, though, the first Overlord was headed in that direction. Do we have any pervert pillars over here? No, not really. There's one over here, I guess, but it's a bit of a... Yeah, maybe that's where we're headed. For now, we're rallied straight onto the opponent's gas geyser, which is probably just a right-click in the general direction on the minimap. So, 19 supply Nexus, 19 supply Cybercore. Probe production has been cut for a moment. Yeah, now we go back to probe production again. In the meantime, it's been 2 workers on gas. Actually, it's been 1 worker on gas. The other one was down on the low ground building those structures. Now we sent one from the minerals onto the gas. The new probe instead is going to be making the Vespian gas over here too. So you can tell that this is just kind of Hero vibing it, right? And this is something that I, as a StarCraft player, have always really struggled with. Over the last month, I've been playing quite a bit of Age of Empires 2. And I have learned since that what the top level AoE 2 players are really good at is vibe gaming. Like, you never... So, in Age of Empires, the map is always random. So, the amount of gold that you get is going to be set in stone, but, like, the positioning of it is random. It's the same for the wood line. And sometimes it's just horribly imbalanced. Sometimes your opponent's spawns are just better. And it forces you to play a lot more based on vibes. You have to kind of play this macro game, where you have to produce a lot of things, but you never really know exactly what it's gonna be like. And it's very interesting. Protoss, in a way, is doing the same thing right now with the new patch. Now, ultimately for StarCraft, this game is a lot more, I guess, well, it's more like a spreadsheet, right? Oh, as we do get the first adept to move in. Ultimately, we will get back to spreadsheet gaming for Protoss 2, especially for the first few minutes. But you have to be a bit careful. There's a lot of little things that will be suboptimal for now. Like, Hero can probably have, like, compared to a few months from now, he'll probably have, like, a 3% more efficient early game. Or something along those lines. There is a more optimal way to get to a Stargate opener. But what exactly the most optimal way is, we do not yet know. Void Ray first. Are we gonna commit? Ooh, 2 drones. 3 drones. 4 drones. What? I guess the first snipe was a Zerg. I can't count, okay? Counting. I dropped out of elementary school. Can you tell? I like how I confidently said 4 drones. What a counter on the left says. Anyways, don't worry about it. Double Void Ray here for Hero. Well, he said he had played all of his hands. Yeah, he said he had played all of the builds that he had prepared. But we are doing something here. Void Ray's going around the map. I never really know what to make of Void Ray openers. I've never liked them. I always kind of feel that Oracles don't, or sorry, Void Rays don't really do anything that Oracles and Phoenixes don't do better. Except they're like, you know, capable of doing both of the tasks, right? Since they're both air-to-air as well as air-to-ground. But they're very much so a middle-of-the-road type of unit. That's exactly why they're so popular on the lower ends of the ladder, especially. But they've been making their way to top-level competitive play a lot more as well over the years. Remember the 2020 meta, I think is what it was. The double Stargate Void Ray meta? Ooh. That sound effect, by the way, that you may have just heard was indeed thousands of Zerg players around the world clenching their butt. They did not like that meta, dude. We're going Blink Stalkers. So double Void Ray into Blink Stalker. I have not yet seen, like, I'm not joking when I say that I have not yet seen a ground-based army work on the new patch. It just doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense. We're doing a whole lot of gateway units now, and we're gonna try and get the Blink Stalkers out. Fair enough. The Zerg players, though, are already getting a little bit complacent, not really dealing with any roaches early on, not going into +1 melee anymore. They're no longer afraid of Blink Stalkers in the early game. So they're not really bothering with countering the unit either, right? Like, that's why we usually saw a quick +1 melee for Zergs. We're no longer doing it. That's why we usually see a Roach Warren. We're not doing that either. Play a straight +1 ranged over here and then straight into a Hydraling Bane type of unit composition. But maybe the Baneling Nest here is a just-in-case type of structure. Just in case it's Zealots. Or some sort of Glaive the Depth push or something along those lines. Because he's not actually getting the speed upgrade for the Banelings. No, maybe we're just gonna go Hydras. Hydras with Zerglings, and then more Hydras, and then more Hydras, and then more Hydras. In the meantime, I can't help but notice that I've seen, yeah, a lot of sentries get warped in. What is this? Is this going to be a real army or an hallucinated army? I don't know. We're cooking up something, but I'm afraid we're actually burning. This is like a home-cooked meal right here from Hero. But I don't know if it's any good. Double proxy pylon. If you can get enough Hydras out, Hydras will actually just kill everything. It's a bit weird. Maybe don't donate any Zerglings. That's not optimal. What a strange game. Shindo has way more income, right? So the third Nexus is done, but we transferred probes from the natural to the third to kind of try and fake it. The Hydra numbers are growing. And I think as long as Shin just keeps making units, which he's obviously going to be doing, this is a strategy that will bleed out over time, especially with 7 probes dying over at the third and a forced warp-in of a bunch of slow Zealots as well. I really don't think that this is going to work out in the long run right here for Hero. It just doesn't really make a ton of sense. Nah. He said he had played all of his builds, but this is clearly still a build that he was considering. Blink Stalker Micro is, of course, good. The proxy pylons now allow you speedy warp-ins, so you no longer need a gateway attached to the pylon. Shin really doesn't need to be chasing this deep off creep, though, but he knows that he is gonna have way more production here over the course of the next few minutes. And Hydras in straight-up fights like this are insanely good. Keep in mind they have +1 missile. No attack upgrades here for Hero at all. In the previous patch, this type of Stalker push would always go hand-in-hand with a +1 Forge upgrade. Not the case this time around. Shin cleans it up with ease. That takes us to the map Fear and Faith, which has tunnels. And therefore it's better. Although, if we wanted to scout the bottom left-hand base, we could have taken the tunnel. I'm just saying, man. Imagine not taking the tunnel. This is a pool first build right here for Shin. What are we gonna do with the pool first? Pool first on a 4-player map. Hero, by the way, getting lucky. 2 for 2 in this particular series. 2 times in a row do we get a 4-player map. 2 times in a row, Hero scouts his opponent first. Natural skill right there, you know? He just knows. Actually, I say that. Wasn't there a map? Ah, we're taking the tunnel home. No! What? Did he just bait me right there with the tunnel? Oh, now we're gonna take the tunnel home. Too late. Oh my god, never mind. Alright, wasn't there a map that shows you the spawn location of your opponent on a minimap for like the first couple of seconds? I don't remember exactly which of the 4-player maps it was. That was very close, by the way. Apparently one of the Zerglings got hung up on this little corner. It would have taken a little nibble out of that probe as it decided to make the turn. But now we're going to be able to live to mine another day. Dang. Pretty badass. Pretty badass right here of our beloved Emperor. Do you think when I am Emperor of the Galaxy, I will also be able to make gold statues of myself? Or would that be considered kind of weird? New Yang City. OMG, OMG, BBQ. Love that. Big fan. Going to be Twilight Council yet again here for Hero. This time around, though, it's a straight Twilight Council. So, no shenanigans right here with a Stargate first. Quick Overlord Scout, by the way, here for Shin. He's just sending it straight through. I guess he saw that there wasn't a whole lot of production going on inside of the gateways. Supply block, by the way, here for Hero. That's kind of messy. Oh, it's straight... Okay. Straight Glaved Adepts. So you can't really know as a Zerg player what is being researched, right? Inside of that Twilight Council. It's not like a Stargate where you can see what's actually being built. But there are some signs, right? Clearly, this is Protoss trying to do something sneaky in the early game. And if you want to go for a charge slot all-in, you really usually combine it with some sort of +1 upgrade. +1 attack especially is really good in early game engagements between Zealots and Zerglings. So even though Shin doesn't know precisely what's being researched, he can probably say with like a 9 out of 10 accuracy that this is going to be Glaved Adepts. It's really the only thing that makes sense. Now this is Hero you're playing against, so nothing truly has to make sense at this stage, and maybe there's a force elsewhere, but... I think going roaches and just making a lot of units is smart. He's also preparing at least the semblance of a door. I think this is mostly just to deal with any sort of potential Dark Templar shenanigans. Yeah, we don't have a Spore Crawler in the main base. So at the very least, he's still respecting some sort of DT all-in. Robo facility, there is a third Nexus. Third Nexus gets scouted right now by Shin as well. No probes over there, though. Oh, thought for a second that the Zealot was not quite in the perfect spot. But here are the Glaive to Depths. They wanted to shade into the main base, decided to cancel it when the Zerglings went on over in that direction. Oh no, you guys split in the wrong direction! Single file around the hedge. That is gonna really allow the Zerg so much more surface area on those units. Drones may need to shuffle away for a moment. Is there no way to get in between these mineral fields over here? Huh. Ah, this is not good though. Not good right here for Protoss. Now we add on additional gates. Lair's gonna be done in a couple minutes. Zerg basically can do whatever they like now. Oh, Prop is stuck. Do you think he's doing it on purpose? Yeah, he wants to save himself, I guess. No worries though, Shin is nice. He's helping him get unstuck. There you go. Sky's the limit right now though for Shin, right? So what is Shin going to be following this up with? I think the third Nexus will probably be saved now with the Immortals. A lot of links on the back of this, but I think you could go... Yeah, we have 4 gases. I think a Spire would be really good. We could go Hydra then yet again, but I think Mutas would be kind of perfect. And you know what? I thought this base was going to be safe, but no, not the case. There we go. Spire coming up inside of the main base for Shin. Arc, Slop, and Joyers. This is your time to shine. They improved the Arc Slop of Mutalisks with this new patch. Nobody truly knows what it means, but it does not matter, okay? Mutas are now a little bit easier to micro. War Prism is actually flying very low to the ground, right? Like it's flying underneath the traffic signs. Seems hardly safe. It just flew through a tree. Oh my god. War Prism pilot may be drunk. Not ideal. Alright, let's see. Can we do enough with this? And it's a lot of Glaive to Depths here. It's a lot of units. We're adding on even more. We never really see double layered Glaive to Depth aggression. But maybe it's the right call. Obviously, Mutas, though, would be really quite nice. Ooh. The problem with Adepts is that they usually fall off the longer that the game goes on, and this wraparound is amazing. The corrosive balls are fantastic. I think the Prism is going to be next if he has any say in the matter, and that will indeed be the end of the Warpins. Adepts, though, did sneak into the third base and the natural expansion. Only 2 drones have gone down so far. Good micro here by Shin. Gonna pull all of the workers away right now. Adepts do shade on top of it, but the majority of them will be able to slip away. Looks like the Adepts over at the third have been cleaned up. Spira gets spotted in the corner of the main. Blink, because of it, starts up yet again. Yeah, and 12 drones is nice, but if you look at the resources lost here, Hero just sacrificed 34 Adepts for 16 drones. Now, you don't have to be a math magician to know that that is maybe not the most optimal trade. Shin's just droning. Yeah, I actually don't mind this decision here for Shin. It's very tempting now to just go ahead and send it. But just re-droning everything back up actually makes a lot of sense. Good job, Brenda. Oh. Yeah, now we're sending freebies across the map to try and keep the Zerg player happy. Hero trying to see if he can win in whatever way necessary, man. Sending treasure chests of gold. Maybe letting him marry into the family or something. I don't know. But at this point, I feel like desperate times indeed are the only things ahead now. He needs to do something. Ah, well, that's, I guess, one thing you can do. GG. Okay, and that will take us to Sanctuary 3. Or Sanctuary Short Barcode. If you have the humor of a 12-year-old. It's me. Are they capital I's or lowercase L's? That's the real question right now. Anyways. Hero did send the worker straight across the map. A little bit easier, though, to determine where the opponent spawned on this map, right? Considering there's only 2 spawn locations. Yeah, so game number 1 and 2 seemed really nice for Hero, right? But they were nice with an asterisk right next to the word nice. Because yes, they were good, but also I kind of felt like he got lucky. Especially game number 1 with the Mothership, and then obviously the fleet beacon that didn't get scouted early, and the Mama ship surviving the attack with like 2 HP. Actually, I think it was 6 HP. Anyhow. I think Shin, across the board in this particular series, has had a bit of an easier time. In the straight-up games, he seems to be able to win. What are we going to do in this game, Hero? Well, it's a low-ground pylon yet again. Quick Nexus yet again. Although the timing of all of this is a little bit different, because this time around we have the Cyber Core already done. Oh, he hit a supply block. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, not good. You don't want to be hitting a supply block in the first 3 minutes of a game, believe it or not. If you're a Protoss player making notes, don't get supply blocked in the first 3 minutes, okay? Yeah, it really is noticeable, right? That, like, the early game is just undecided right now for Protoss. We just don't really know what the best way is to open up. It is all very unclear. 32 out of 32 right here for Shin, although he does have an Overlord finishing up. Stargate opener yet again. Man, I really would like Stargate openers to be viable, but then also something else to be viable for Protoss, because we've seen so many Stargate builds over the last maybe 5-6 years. What's kind of funny is that in the previous patch, Zerg was underperforming a little bit. So what do map makers do to try and help out as we have a proxy pylon going up? What do? They bring these little pillars in the natural expansion back. Zerg is underperforming. Map makers are like, yo, we're going to help out Zergs a little bit. And then this patch hits right at the same time as the new map pool. So the new map pool buffs Zerg. And then the new patch also buffs Zerg. So we have a double whammy right now for Zerg players. Lynx are looking around everywhere. Does he see? Oh, my lord. Okay. Well, that's very lucky for Hero. It's what he needed in game number 1 and 2 to win. For some reason, the Zerglings see everything except for that one little spot. This is just 2 gateways, though. And I think we're going into a 3rd Nexus. Okay. We have an Oracle as well. 3rd Nexus is going to be fired up momentarily. 2nd Oracle comes up before the 3rd Nexus does. 5 Adept shade in, but then what was the point of the proxy pylon? He hit a supply block right now too. 3rd Nexus should really be starting up, Hero. Finally, we go for one. You can almost see the question marks, though, on Shin's side of the map. He's a little bit confused about wondering what's going on. He still has not seen the pillar. We have engaged the enemy. He's now seen an extra Oracle slip by.
Our forces are under attack.
He's a big fan of the Diva announcer. Maybe the Korean version of the Diva announcer sounds better. I don't know. Doubtful. Doubtful, to be honest. Look at Brenda over here, man. Making herself really white. Yeah, I again don't like it. That's 7 Adepts right here for all of this. Oracle, in the meantime, trying to get some damage done, but likewise also not achieving too much. Although, ooh, that's kind of nice. Ooh, that's kind of nice. Okay. 9 workers here in total. Most of them by the Oracles, not the Adepts. Zergling counterattack. Adepts kind of sleeping here a little bit. They probably need to be... There we go, into that little pocket. Lynx, in the meantime, though, do also attack the shield battery from the back. Oracle number 3 starts up right now. Do we still have enough energy? We do. Okay, this Nexus is safe. Lair, in the meantime, inside of the main base for Shin. Twilight Council together with a Forge right now for Hero. So we are teching down again, right? We're going from the Stargate into the Twilight Council, just like we would in the old patch. I'm guessing we're just gonna go Twilight Council into Blink and then Forge into +1 attack. It's just gonna hit so much later, though, in a game like this, right? Am I wrong? Hero's resources are also kind of out of whack here. Double chrono boost? Yeah, it's Blink together with +1. Never mind, it's Charge together with +1. But then we have way too much gas now, don't we? Yeah. 4 gas zealots, not terrible, especially if we can go into like a Templar Archives here. But already, Arkslop enjoyers rejoice, the Spire's coming up. Fourth hatchery over on the right side of the map too. Roaches with +1 and roach speed on the horizon. All of this is really quite good as we have the oracles shooting laser beams yet again. The nice thing about the Spire in this type of game, right, is that, like, in Shin's mind, there's 2 options. Either it's going to be Skytos, in which instance Corruptors are really good, or it's not going to be Skytos, in which instance Mutalisks are going to be really good. You can't really go that wrong right now with a Spire, I don't think, in the current meta. A little too early to really tell, but I really do think Mutas are a lot more viable now than they have been in a while. Mostly because of the meta changes, though, for Protoss. Not so much because of the Arkslop. It's a lot of damage that you guys need to deal, man. There's queens nearby. I don't know, lads. That seemed like an ambitious goal anyways. And indeed, 13 Mutalisks do start up. Charge is done. Blink on the back it is, together with +2. Zealots with Charge, though, immediately get spotted. And obviously, Mutas are going to be just fine against a real committed Zealot attack. But honestly, this doesn't even really feel like a Zealot attack. There's a couple of boys over here with swords for arms. Okay, maybe pull the drones? No, we don't pull the drones. Oracles together with Zealots in the meantime as well on the left side. Yeah, good bit of damage done here, honestly, by Hero. More than I thought he was going to get. If he can get the hatchery, that'd be kind of sick. Okay. Blink together with Fleet Beacon. Phoenix production has kicked in to try and counter those Mutalisks. I wonder if maybe Phoenix openers are going to be making a return too somehow in this matchup. It'd be very weird, but if Mutas are going to be very common, maybe it's not such a bad idea. Much easier now, though, unironically, with the Arkslop change, to go after the Phoenixes with Mutas. Only 4 probes, not really that many. Fleet Beacon does get spotted. Hero can almost afford Mama. Ooh, nice hit. Here's the Roaches, though, going in on the right side of the map. And this is a scary, scary switch up here for Hero, because there's just so many Zerg units suddenly flooding across. He's busy trying to counter Mutalisks, but this right now has turned into the real threat. Mutas will also come back around, though. There's some Archons here in the mix. Immortal production absolutely critical. 16 probes end up dying here. That's a significant amount. Just a trade between the armies will fit Zerg just fine at this point. Nice little Blinky, though. We have one little Phoenix up in the air as well, just chasing whatever it can. Ravager gets blasted down as soon as it fell back to the ground. +2 for the ground attacks, coming right up. Immortal production has kicked in as well. This Oldo, compared to like the previous series we saw Hero play on the PTR, looks so much better for Protoss across the board. I'm still liking this situation better for Shin, but the amount of progress that Hero has made in just a few days' time is remarkable. Oh, that Immortal, though, is a little overexposed. Yep, that's going to be the end of it. Would have loved to see the Phoenixes actually lift up the Immortal, which you can do. Hero is rebuilding a decent economy as well. This is, of course, the 4th base here for Shin. Losing it would be a massive problem. Pro production, though, is going to continue as well for Hero. He doesn't really want to double down. Got a lot of money in the bank. Decides to do some big warpins over here. This is a nice game. Nice little blinks. Immortal, walk away. Good. Corrosive Bow indeed gets dodged. Ravager once more gets lifted up into the air. Immortal once more not living up to its name. Queen's trying her absolute best to get rid of the Phoenixes, and it will ultimately achieve that goal. Hero needs to be pushed back. Yep. Shin gets the job done over here. That's good. Oh, and now we go, mama. Okay, sure. When there's something strange in the game, who are you gonna call? It's Mama, dude. Mama the legend. Tupac even wrote a song for Mama, dude. You love to see it. Don't know if he was talking about this one. But, it is exactly what Hero needs. Look at this production tab. 1 Immortal, 1 Carrier, 1 Mothership, while marching around the map with Zealots. Couple of leftover Stalkers too, and a Nexus. We're making 1 of each. Everybody's got a plan, though, until the Zerg army comes in. And Mama alone is not really going to be able to save it that well. I mean, the cloaking upgrade is sweet. Keep in mind that we already have a Spire, so Corruptor production can indeed kick in at any given moment. Shin doesn't have a huge economy, though. Where's Mama? Where is she? Where's Mama? Mama, you're going the wrong way! Oh, no. Mama is old and senile. Mama, turn around. We need you to cloak the 3rd. Recall right here onto the Stalkers. Now we activate Cloak. This is weird. Wait a second. The Cloak Stalkers are body-blocking Ravagers. 16 probes did ultimately still die, and a lot of roaches somehow, some way managed to sneak around the site. Mama's vision is also not what it once used to be. Cloak is going to run out here real soon. Yep, and it's going to be on cooldown for like a full minute. In the meantime, even though there's no anti-air available right here for Shin, he is just trying to blast his way through. And I've got a feeling that all the probes, and maybe even the Nexus itself, very likely the Nexus itself, will end up going down. It's a disaster for Hero. The probes wanted to go down to the low ground. But right now it's basically waiting. Ooh, no GG. Right now it's basically waiting for the Mothership to get the cloaking ability yet again. No GG right there from Hero. I heard that he's been doing that a lot more on the new patch. Maybe taking a page out of Clem's book. Who knows? Either way, ultimately, this particular finals, it ends with a 3-2 victory for Shin. And I understand the frustration for Hero, right? But I really, if I contrast this, especially to the series that he played in the GSL CK, this seemed to be 10 times better for him. Yeah. I'm excited to see where he's going to be in like another month or so.